angry guy here, and women are selling their bodies and living in poverty. Women are selling their bodies and living in poverty. Let's just go ahead and jump right into this article. So, as you guys can see, Mir says rise in evening delights from Venezuelan migrants will destroy New York City as red light district emerges. And it's not really a matter of emerging, it's been here for a long time. It's only getting worse. So, uh, an increase in Venezuelan migrant evening delights, so ladies of the night, has led to the creation of a makeshift red light district on New York's City Roosevelt Avenue. Guys, I never thought 42nd Street would ever come back in New York. 42nd Street was basically a place where if you wanted to go and get an illicit substance, you can get illicit substance. If you wanted to go and find a woman to spend the evening or night with, you can go in there and you'd find a woman to spend the evening and night with for the exchange of money. And it was basically you could get everything and anything you wanted. And then Giuliani became mayor and he shut it down. But those dark days are coming back to New York. And it's not just New York, it's something happening all over the country. It's happening in Los Angeles, happening in San Diego, it's happening all over California, it's happening in other states. Things are getting really hard, really rough. And as they say that women are in the workforce more than ever, they're more educated than ever. They're the well-being of women has actually deteriorated, going back all the way back to the silent generation compared to previous generations. So going all the way back to women born in 1928, women today are doing worse than they did in 1928. Well, when women were born in 1928, so that's a pretty big change right there. It's really really unfortunate. It's really sad, but these are the results of modern day feminism. These are the results of when women decide that they want to do everything on their own, when they want to take on the roles that men have had for quite some time. There are consequences for that, and now they're experiencing those consequences, and those consequences are in many cases too much for them to handle. But that's what they've put themselves into, and they're going to have to live with those consequences and deal with those consequences as things continue to become more difficult. Their lifespan is decreasing. These are the consequences that women are seeing. Men work the long hours. Men go out there and they do the jobs that women don't want to do or can't do, and they keep on working until the end of their days. And women have taken this for granted. And now we're seeing the fallout from this, and men are walking away from Western society, relationships in Western society, and choosing to focus on themselves, their own happiness, their own well-being. I talk to so many of you guys in the comments. I hear stories from you guys in the comments. I say that the guys with the bread are not these dudes that are making these crazy amounts of money, because sometimes you can have a guy who's a physician who makes $250,000 a year, but he has $500,000 in student loan debt, and that's just the principal. We're not even talking about the interest. So this dude is he's paying off his student loan debt for 10 years, and after 10 years of paying down $500,000, he's now at $700,000. That's a joke that a lot of people put out there, but it's pretty true. They pay off. It's been years paying down their debt, 10 years paying down their debt, and then their debt is significantly higher than when they started as a result of all the interest and that they have to make. The dudes with the bread, for example, a guy making $72,000 a year, someone tell me, I'm a janitor, I make $72,000 a year, and they have no debt. $72,000 a year with no debt. Guess what? That person over the course of 10 years is going to have a lot of disposable income. After that second year of working, these people can save up $50,000. They can take that $50,000 and go and get a house. So they can use this $50,000 as a down payment on a property, get a decent house, renovate that house, increase the value of that house substantially, rent that house out, and use that house as a means of creating another income, and then they rinse and repeat the process with 2 or 3 properties. Now they're pulling in hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, in some cases millions of dollars a year, but over the course of, let's say, 5 or 10 years, they've pulled in hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars a year, and over that period of time, and they have literally no debt, and they're still working as a janitor, you know, and it's crazy. And these are the dudes with bread. They don't have a lot of stress. They don't have a lot of they don't have a lot of issues. They have excellent benefits, so excellent family benefits, excellent medical benefits that allow them to take care of a family, which is something quite substantial. They have great job security. They have a lot of flexibility, and they have all this money coming in. And most women would never even glance in their direction, and it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious versus some doctor, some guy who went to medical school, and he gave up 10 years of his life to do this, and now at the age of 35, he's just starting to make money, and he can just now try to enjoy that, while he's lost 15, almost 20 years of his life in school, because he started this journey at 18, and now he's 35 years old, and he's just now starting to make some cash. Yeah, guys, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And keep in mind, he was busy with all of this stuff, so he doesn't know anything about financial literacy. Nothing about financial literacy. A lot of doctors end up going broke very, very quickly. He has nothing to fall back on. He has no real world skills. So, he loses his position as a physician. He's done for. He can't pick up a wrench. He can't do things around the house. He can't do masculine things. He can't change it. He can't even change a tire. He would not be able to transition into the real world very easily outside of that, versus a janitor who can transition to many different fields because of the skill sets he's acquired working as a janitor. He can move into sanitation very quickly. He can potentially move into even contract work very quickly. He could move into a lot of different fields, and he's going to learn about a lot of different things as a result of working in that field. It's ridiculous, and the skill sets he's also going to be able to gain are crazy. He'll learn how to use a tape measure, for example. He'll learn how to do a little bit of electrical work. These are things that you learn as a janitor. He'll learn how to unclog a drain. That's plumbing right there. Guys, you would be amazed. You'd be absolutely amazed. And these are the dudes with the actual skill sets that are making the bread. And a woman from overseas will listen to a guy and say, "What do you do for a living?" He says, "I'm a janitor." She won't immediately become disgusted and go, "Oh, you're a janitor." No, she's going to use her head and say, "You're a janitor who works in America, and did you go to college? Nope, didn't go to college, so you have no debt." No. And what kind of money are you making? $70,000 a year. You're making $70,000 a year as a janitor, and you have no debt, and you're not working crazy hours, which means that you have disposable income. Plus, you can make even more money doing overtime. And what's your savings like? So this is how foreign women think. So they're gonna think, okay, so this guy has no personal debt, he has no student loan debt, he has substantial amounts of savings, he has tons of free time and flexibility if I want him to be there for me, because I need him to be there. And they're gonna realize that this is the dude that has the real value, versus these jokers out here and these clowns out here that women are thinking are going to give them these extravagant lives. And a lot of men are wisening up and being much more careful with relationships today. But this is the reason why you now have such a large amount of women who are literally selling their bodies and living in poverty as a result of men walking away from Western society, relationships in Western society, choosing not to marry, not to date, not to have children. Instead, just walking away and finding their peace. Guys, Western society is pretty much at its end. We can see it. Nothing is going to substantially change because women cannot go backwards. They can only go forward. This is something we've heard countless times. They can't do it. A woman cannot go backwards. She would rather live in a storm drain while believing that she deserves to marry LeBron James, and she's waiting for LeBron James to come and get her in that storm drain and give her that lifestyle that she deserves. You literally have women on social media right now putting hashtag trillionaire gang because they are looking for trillionaires. Billionaires are boring now. And while some of it is comical, and a lot of them will say, "Oh, I'll accept a billionaire," like a billionaire to them, they think that a billionaire is a joke. To a lot of modern day women, they think a billionaire is an absolute joke. They think a millionaire is something that every man should basically be by the age of 30 years old. By 30 years old, you should be making $1 million a year. Even though only like 20% of people in the United States are millionaires. Well, no, let me correct myself. Only 20% of people in the United States make $100,000 or more, but they think that being a billionaire is something that every man should do, and the minimum is six figures for a guy to make $150,000 a year, and that's them being reasonable and being having a kind heart. Like, come on. Even though only like 20% of people make that kind of money in the United States, make $100,000 a year in the United States, they think that that's reasonable. Get out of here. What do you think regarding this, guys? I want to hear your thoughts on this. Women are selling their bodies and living in poverty as men walk away from Western society. I want to know your thoughts, so let's talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away. And cheers.